what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Light/YouTubers channel. I am one of your members and leaders. It's Jason, only member because mostly of them are dead. But welcome back. It's been a while, but you know what? I've decided, why not I upload something, because I mean the channel's dead. Every member that's been on here they're dead. They've been gone. School and everything. I don't know what happened there, but I am still here running. So you know what? I decided to make this my second channel for now. So yeah, let's just get started with this filmography. It's a bit different from the Lights channel, but you know what? I'll add a bit of like injection to new blood, because yeah, it's a dead channel. Okay, it's a dead channel. So anyways, let's get started with this late filmography now. I'm sorry, I look terrible. Like, what is this, man? Actually, I don't even. Yeah, I look terrible. It's just like I've been outside the whole day. I mean, concrete, all fence. Okay, fence. I've been doing fence. So let's just get started with this filmography video. In 3, 2, 1, go.
The word wohi is a chant of praise in South Sudan. It's also the name of one of the most
This is also a spin-off.
of young filmmakers
In my main channel,
today. Well,
you can find
the
reaction,
film and TV
but I'm gonna hook up with the
in a refugee
geography
camp
now.
in Kenya at the height of the Civil War. Started by Daniel, a 14-year-old refugee who fled
14
from
years
Sudan
old.
at the age of 7. Daniel
I
started
mean,
the theater group as a way to keep busy.
he's doing big more
Little
things
did
than me,
he
bro.
know that the group would grow to international recognition and be the spark that really started the film industry in South Sudan. Now, with 70 members, an office in the country's capital, and
so if there's a geography now and a filmography, I want a history now. History now, right? Paul,
if you say woyi,
if you're making history now,
there's an inspiring and beautiful story here. In the midst of war, over 2 million people displaced from their homes, child soldiers, extreme poverty, famine, lots of bad stuff, but there is a lot of hope and a story to be told about South Sudan, and I'm honored to tell it. So buckle up, ladies and gents, because we're gonna dive into the story and see what it can tell us about the culture, history, and geography of South Sudan.
Yeah.
It's time to learn filmography now.
Alright, film history.
I actually like it, to be honest.
Let's start at the beginning.
I just don't like how they didn't include like the animal popping up.
Oh wait, it's just 2011. Only 10 years ago. Because South Sudan
10 years ago?
actually the world's
Honestly, feels like
youngest
yesterday, to be
country.
honest.
Times
Times were so better when I made this channel.
They had a new president, a new national anthem, and a new film industry.
The Sudan Civil War was the longest
Hey, nah, no way.
about 40 years, leaving about 2 million dead and over 4 million displaced from their homes. South Sudan's border is shared with 6 other nations, and during the rainy season is kind of inaccessible.
Yeah, this obviously poses major difficulties for its emerging film and TV industry. It's one of the least developed countries in the world, but you know, there is potential.
And the most
South
relied
Sudan's first feature
on
film
the
is
UN.
actually called
That's kind of
Jamila,
poor, to be honest,
which
but
means
you know what?
beautiful in South Sudanese.
They
It
have a
comes
reason
from
to
the
be
Woyi
honest.
film
Civil
and
War
TV
and
industry. The group we
poverty
talked
and
about
stuff.
in the intro.
Yeah,
They got their start in a refugee camp. Kululu El-Gabina is a member of the Woyi film and TV industry, and she says, "We're starting from the root level, and we're thinking beyond. In 30 years' time, we see ourselves trying to compete with the rest of the world."
Now, this inspiring group faces many roadblocks. Most homes in South Sudan don't even have electricity. Much
No,
less
he
TV
said
players.
roadblocks, but I know it sounded like
one
Roblox.
TV station, and the government kind of controls it. Now, you might be thinking,
well, why don't they just upload their movies to the World Wide Web, like we're doing here on YouTube?
The country's bandwidth is so low.
Hey, yo, it's good.
Bummer. The solution? They screen their films in local communities, and
MVP,
that's what they're
bro.
doing. The drive and grit of these amazing filmmakers is
I
inspiring.
don't know, I injured myself.
Doesn't it make you
Sorry
feel
if I'm
like you can
looking
just
at
do anything? If they can start a film industry in a refugee camp in a foreign country,
Then I can.
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Even
let's
though
go.
South Sudan itself has not
I
produced
can-
a lot of films,
I
the outside
can
world
make
has
a
paid
renaissance
attention
to
little
this
baby country.
Lights
There are a good
slash
bit of films that you can watch if you
YouTubers
wanna learn
nation.
the culture and history of South Sudan. And surprise, guys, here's Stinky Florida Man Keith with the culture segment.
Hi, everybody. South Sudan is one of the world's poorest nations. As of 2011, the country had 0 movie theaters.
There was one movie theater in Juba, but it was destroyed in South Sudan's second civil war.
It's currently almost impossible to put your finger
Bro,
on and
everyone's
explain
in
the
this.
culture of South Sudan. If one was to
Now we
make
just
a
need
movie
art.
of the South Sudanese story, it probably wouldn't translate to all the South Sudanese people. Why, you
I need a
ask?
haircut.
What an excellent question! Skit!
What about me? You should make a movie about me. I grew up in the height of the first Sudanese war.
Hey, that doesn't matter. What about me? I grew up in the height of the second Sudanese war.
Well, okay, I was a refugee in Ethiopia for like all the time, so that's where most of my culture is based off.
Oh,
Chris, you
but
just
I
think
think
Ethiopia is so great. So many
And so on. There are many wars and experiences of South Sudanese people, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint an exact South Sudanese culture and experience because it's so diverse. Due to the civil wars in South Sudan, its peoples are spread
Hold
out.
on, I want to try this
Some
out.
are in cities, some are in
Yeah, you can
refugee
barely see
camps,
me.
others fleeing to the United States. If you go into South Sudan itself, you will most likely find a culture made up of tribes based on ethnic groups like the Dinka and the Nuer, who are cattle herding communities and often semi-nomadic.
So currently, the only way to get a glimpse into this country via film is through movies made by non-South Sudanese about South Sudan.
Probably
The
Uganda.
film Machine Gun Preacher is a good place to start. There are actually 2 movies called Machine Gun Preacher. One is a true story documentary, and the other is
Okay,
an
never
action
mind.
movie
I
starring
thought
Gerard Butler that is based
they-
on the true
you can
story.
only
This
watch, like,
movie is about
Ugandan
this
movies.
drug-dealing tough guy who found God and became a crusader for hundreds of South Sudanese children who've been forced to become child soldiers.
Whatever I need to do to help these people, I'm gonna do.
The movie explores the sad but true reality of child soldiers in South Sudan. South Sudan's armed forces, as well as opposition groups, recruit children to be soldiers. Many of these children are abducted from their families and forced to become soldiers. It is a very interesting
Honestly,
and
kind of messed
informative
up, to be
film.
honest.
If you're interested in South Sudan's struggle for independence, the documentary We Come as Friends covers the war-ravaged South Sudan fighting for independence from the north. It covers some about President Omar al-Bashir. If you didn't watch the Sudan episode, let me fill you in. Omar al-Bashir equals really bad Islamic extremists such a control of Sudan in a coup d'etat, but was recently, thankfully, overthrown, which is bringing back film and TV to Sudan,
Yeah.
and hopefully to also South Sudan.
Let's go.
Speaking of Bashir, he did a lot of censorship. So here's my very kind and sweet husband, Ian, who's going to do the propaganda and censorship.
Propaganda and censorship. Buckle up, everybody, because this
What was that
one is
font?
doozy.
The font
There's
looks so
pretty much
weird.
no propaganda and censorship in the film industry in South Sudan. That's because there's nothing to censor. Since radio, TV, and newspapers are the main way people in South Sudan get information, we are going to talk about those. So,
Is it
according
bad
to
if I'm
Reporters Without
actually
Borders,
in
over
the-
14 journalists have been murdered in South Sudan since 2014. South Sudan broke out into a civil war
Jeez.
after it seceded from Sudan. This civil war created a breeding ground for sexual and ethnic crimes against humanity, the world's largest refugee crisis, and an array of other problems. And that's exactly why South Sudan has cracked down on censorship of the media. Currently, reporters, journalists, and human rights activists in South Sudan face being jailed, beaten, and even killed for speaking out against the government. I give it 2 thumbs down. The use
Yeah.
of surveillance in South
Yeah.
Sudan is also a big
That's
problem.
a big
Apparently,
no-no. That's
it's
a
being
big
used to
no.
silence anyone who speaks out against the government. Also 2 thumbs down.
Yeah.
That's lame. During the height of South Sudan's civil war, many journalists were eager to report on ethnic cleansing that was going on in the country, but were not able to due to censorship. 2 thumbs down. On top of that, South Sudan has only one TV station, the SSBC TV, located in Juba, but it's run by the government.
BBC.
2 thumbs down. And so, radio is the main way people in South Sudan receive
BBC.
news. There are about
BBC.
30 FM radio stations,
BBC.
all run by churches,
BBC.
community organizers, and private businesses. Most journalists in South
I
Sudan
don't know.
have
He
been
said private
harassed,
businesses,
some
so
even
maybe
tortured,
BBC
so,
is a private
yeah,
company.
Most of them left South Sudan. Though there is a light at the end of the tunnel. After signing a peace accord in 2018, there haven't been any journalists murdered, so
Yeah.
guess we'll see what happens. Give that a tentative sideways thumb.
Still bad though.
It wants to. You got it. They wanna. But not yet.
Yeah.
So propaganda and censorship is everywhere.
sorry,
It's
my
not
shirt
just
is
for these
sweating,
little baby
man.
countries like South Sudan. I would love to know how censorship and propaganda has affected you and your country. Comment down below and let me know.
Gotcha.
And now let's take it to our local favorite section where we talk to people who are actually from the country. And this week I'm so excited because I got to sit down with Akon and Yamal, who are actually South Sudanese living here in San Diego. We filmed at Barb's house, so please excuse the lighting and audio. It's not as great as it would be if I was in my studio, and I hope to up the quality in the next video.
Well,
but they had some really
Barb's house
amazing
is
things to
alright.
say about South Sudan and the culture and the film industry there. So you guys take a look. Alright guys, I'm here actually at Barb's house in Full Studio.
The
With
line looks
Yamal
okay. I
and
don't know
Akon.
what's the
Did
problem.
I pronounce that right, guys?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. They are actually South Sudanese, and they're going to be helping me out with the episode today, telling me about the movies and TV shows they grew up watching, and answering a few questions.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Let's get into it. Can you tell our filmographer peeps where you guys are from and how your family came to the United States, a little bit about your story and what it's like being South Sudanese in the United States?
I'm so sorry.
Of course, yeah. So I'm from San Diego, California, but I'm Noir. And
San Diego.
my family
Well,
came
it's not
from
LA,
South
so.
Sudan in 1994, like after,
Nah, I gotta be quiet.
during the Civil War.
Wow.
I feel like I'm
And
disrespecting.
so yeah, like they came to San Diego. Well, they flew out. They first flew to New York, and then my family lived in Tennessee for a while.
Oh, cool.
And we moved to Texas, and then we somehow ended up in San Diego.
So I was born and raised in South Sudan until I was 9, and then I went to Egypt when I was 9 years old until I was 10, and then I came to Africa. My father brought us here with papers.
I think she meant
So there's
America
people that
because she
wait
said
years,
Africa.
Maybe like 13 years, 20 years, maybe
Wow.
so. And my family only waited. We only had to wait 1 year, and we came here.
That's amazing.
So,
Yay! Well, glad that you guys came here. So you had 9 years growing up in South Sudan.
yes.
Wow. Do you remember that time period of your life, or is it kind of all?
I remember like it's like they come and go.
Yeah.
My memories. So yeah.
Yeah, but you guys both have obviously your family from there, so you're immersed in the culture, and you know, wow, that's amazing. So, is there any TV shows or movies that you guys watch that either are from South Sudan or that people in South Sudan like, or that in general you guys grew up watching?
Well, actually, the first ever South Sudanese feature film is Jamila.
Yeah, I did some research about that. Yes.
I watch a lot of Nigerian movies,
Cool.
but
Mhm.
one
No.
person.
Is it called
in
Nollywood?
particular
Nollywood,
that I
but
watched from South Sudan.
Nollywood.
His name is Lonyo.
Lonyo. Okay. Cool.
Lonyo. Yeah. So he does like a lot of skits
Okay. Cool.
and features some music videos
The face
by
does it.
Yaba and Galazo.
Okay. So I ask everybody, filmographies, I'm behind the camera for this one. I ask everybody who is a guest on the show if you could make a movie about South Sudan, the culture, that's not a war-based movie, that's just about the culture and the people. Is there anything that you would put in that movie, or do you have an idea of what that movie would be about? And yeah, that's the question.
I guess for me, like if I was to make a movie about South Sudan, it would be about, you know, the music and the dances that we have. You know, I find it so beautiful, you know, like there's other tribes that I don't understand the language, but I'll still sing the songs and do the dances.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I would make a movie about like the different tribes and how there's so many like different tribes, and there's tribes within tribes
Right.
and tribes within tribes.
Right.
You know how like
Mhm.
SpongeBob says, you know, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Like once I met this guy who knew 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 this
Bro.
guy who knew this 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 guy's cousin.
I know a tribe who knows a tribe who
Bro.
knows a tribe. So I would definitely make a movie
SpongeBob,
about just
he's probably
how there's
talking.
so many different people and there's so
He's
much,
probably
like,
talking about someone from like
overlap.
San Marino
Awesome.
or
All right. Well,
something.
there's anything else that you would like the filmography to know about South Sudan?
One thing that I learned recently is apparently laughing, smiling is an American thing. So
Really?
yeah, like that's one thing that I learned. So my younger brother. We have different dads, and so when I met him recently, like he came to America, and I remember sitting down with him and we're just talking, and he did not smile at all, and I was like, does he not like me? Like, what's going on, you know? And so when I spoke to my mom about it, she said, you know, smiling and stuff, it's an American thing, but in Africa they don't do all this smiling, like.
That's
so
weird.
Apparently that's, you know, that's American, so.
American.
Thank you guys so much for being
I wouldn't
in
say
the Filmography
American,
Now
like-
episode. Guys, make sure you watch the Geography Now South Sudan episode.
Well, we did on the main channel.
And
But this is the
that
lights
is actually
channel.
the end of
We
our
do whatever
Filmography
we
Now
want
episode.
here.
So give it a like.
We give
and
it fresh new
subscribe,
blood.
And Barb is gonna come in and tell you to like and subscribe, because you guys listen to him more than me.
I guess.
And I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Barbs.
Bye.
MVP.
It's time to learn filmography
Well, folks, that's about it. Credits. I normally don't show them, but anyways, guys, that's about it for this video. Please like and subscribe to the Lights/YouTubers Nation account, because like I said, fresh new blood. Trying to get for fresh new blood. So yeah, please like and subscribe, because I'm the only member and leader in this dead account. Anyways, guys, that's it. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time.